the lovely 5D Mystic community. We know our mission, which is our whole 3-year-old heart, first of all, and how to use our clairs to protect the future and to support human expansion of consciousness. And expansion of consciousness involves education, not returning to ignorance, which is where when you are telling me that technology takes away our divinity or sciences, I'm like, wait a minute, they're made by people, it's supporting people. You don't obviously have the awareness that your implicit bias, political, religious, your personal opinion is affecting and tainting what you're speaking from your mouth. Also, thank you, Sadhguru, if you overflow with humanity, divinity has to descend. And apparently you don't know that divinity isn't the ancient textbooks. I mean, if you're using ancient textbooks, then you're not in the spirituality community, which is having meaning beyond the solo self. So supporting our human herd and obviously the animal kingdom, everything, the ecosystem. It's called Economy. I think there's like a global economy book. I haven't read it yet, but my point is, 5D Mystics, our contract is knowing how to use curiosity when the storm hits. So today we got a beautiful full moon, and you better bet the 5D Mystic is not whining about it like the 4D does. And the 4D, unfortunately, I've had plenty of 4D Mystics throughout my years of meeting on the ascension journey, expanding my energy body, and every time we have full moon, new moon, astrological events, they consistently only use the other types of textbooks. So they don't use the ancient text. No, that's the 3D who says yoga brings demon out of you. No, yoga actually is a ventral vagal portfolio of nervous system toning exercises. And also mindfulness and meditation and journaling, those support you to move towards integration of the brain, because the 3 pillars of the mind, so you support your mind, which is not the same as the brain, but the brain is the organ, right? And it's an embodied brain. Thank you, Daniel Siegel, for explaining through interpersonal neurobiology and all my courses with Daniel Siegel on Mindsight Institute. I can share how my lovely brain is integrated, and I use my prefrontal cortex, and for clairs, it's amazing. So channeling guidance, Akashic record readings, having past regression, life downloads, however that works, meaning the wording, because I do not do well with words. And see, when I used word in another one of our episodes, what I was trying to say was labels. So a person who's grown up inside, we don't use words to label ourselves. We don't need an identity because our mission, so the mission is I return home to myself, not show yourself, I'm dying to meet you, and doing pseudo-aliveness, which is a fight response, safety behavior. It's dysfunctional nervous system. It's very sad because the pseudo-aliveness is actually a way that I got explained in one of my trauma courses. And so many people live a default mode network that consistently scans self and other, like their 0-1-year-old, and consistently lives in this fight response. And then the inner dialogue, when they have inner dialogue, thank you, Patrick Tiahan, he's a childhood trauma survivor. I say always heal and healing and therapist, and he has a community. And the other day he shares a short how he's like, wow, once we get triggered and our fight response comes online, and then we have that inner dialogue and we're like, whoa, what am I thinking? Freaking out because, you know, the inner dialogue is the inner critic and the outer critic. So it's unfortunate because I've met as a 5D mystic those who come to tell me about shadows and their shadow work, but they spit venom out and they're actually really, really not nice to their twin flame or twin flames or soulmates. And I try telling the 4D mystics, you're not under any spell or control. It's your human being brain. There's a way that I didn't know at the time how to say, you know, 2 parts of the brain come online when you get dumped. And it's the VTA, which is where we fall in love. And then there's the other one, which is when you get addicted to drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. And so it's like, well, I personally was not addicted to cigarettes. I quit from one day to the next, but I'm the owner of my brain because I have integration capacity, because when emotions come up, I'm accountable, aware. I learned to self-regulate. So the 5D mystics were not on a mission to figure out we have a 3-year-old. So they don't use their clairs thinking they're anointed or stick to I'm subject to every time the ascension energies come about being in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many different criteria. See, I noticed the criteria and I was like, you know what? If I continue using these criteria, really I'm using other people's words, but my body is part of this energy, so I'm not subject to it. I'm a part of it. I'm going to get curious. I'm going to stop using all of these lists, and I'm just going to make sure that I sit and sleep and do whatever. So I learned how to just do that, from my dream state. And when I shared that with 4D mystics, they didn't put it into practice. No, to this day, it's been like, what? I've been on this journey since 2007. Yes, and it's 2000, feels so long, 24. Wow, this is a long time. Yeah, so what I can tell you is they have not yet accessed the mastery of their mental or emotional plane, because every time the ascension energies come up, the emotional stuff comes up, and you're being given the opportunity to move out of your safety behavior, the inner dialogue of a fight response. And some people, they don't have childhood developmental trauma from abuse or neglect. But then again, attachment wounds, ruptures, and fragmentation are very big, important words. I'm not using them randomly. I'm educated in trauma and attachment. And I support people to be themselves. So 5D mystics, we know that protecting the future is not about us being superheroes. Those are the codependent human beings who are blamers and or victims, and then they're martyrs or superiors. And you'll see them spitting vengeance in their mouth on screen when they're calling, I'm doing this because God gave me the power, or source gave me the power, or, they have some story for you. And, it's, again, sad for me to see, because I know what I'm seeing on screen is a person who doesn't know how to do integration, and that what just happened here is called structural dissociation, and that EMDR, child parts work, and somatics can help them to expand what is the window of tolerance. So see, I got lucky, because I and any 5D mystic will keep their inner child. So when we are faced with any person outside of ourselves that comes to us, and they're a person who, let's just say they do the shame, blame, fault, revenge, they do envy, jealousy, spite, they come at you. I remember of teenagers, okay? So luckily in my home, which unites and welcomes, I got to have a twin that I grew up with, and we fought like cats and dogs is the word, but that's where we also unconditionally loved each other. So I never forgot where I came from. Okay, so a 5D mystic will not forget their human baby. And they won't get up and in their head and think that because they communicate with the stars that they're somehow more special than somebody else. Okay, so that's number one. So with this full moon for the 5D mystic community, there is an opening up of something different when it comes to mysticism and alchemy. We understand that we're woo-woo and pseudoscience for those who are academics, but we understand that the sciences people who are actually sciences are open to supporting each other. So we don't go and say, you can't talk about something in any way. Actually, we're the ones who we can talk about anything, and it's harmonious. Okay, so what 5D mystics do not do is say, I do not have tolerance for the dysfunctional, dysregulated human being. So they do not kick out of their herd the adaptive child, the unhealed trauma individual who brings to the table projected maladaptive child behavior. So like when people come to me ever since I was a teenager, Maria, humans are evil. No, humans suffer. No, Maria, humans are evil. Don't you know about the devil? And then, I knew my mystical superpowers came for some reason because I love Jesus. And I was like, I know what Jesus talks about. I can feel it in here that you're human, like Pacha tells Cusco. So I know that if you're unkind to me, that's not, one, I'm not going to behave like you because I don't want to be treated unkindly. Why would I behave in the exact way you're treating me? I don't want to be cold. I don't want to be emotional. I'm going to be humble. Thank you, Terrell. So 5D mystics, we're not superior or inferior. We're empowered. Empowerment. Again, you're able to show up fully because you got restorative embodiment, though. You paid attention to your inner emotions and you didn't say, let me project it out of twin flame, soulmates, or call my loved ones, energy vampires, crabs trying to keep me down. 4D mystics right now, they're kicking people out of their herd because the immature, emotionally speaking human being, that's what they know how to do. They don't know how to have healthy confrontation. They know how to block you, unfriend you, silent treatment, not face you, Cuscos, bunch of Cuscos and squirrels. That's 4D land for you and 3D land. 5D mystics, we like to empower, educate, and discern. Again, discernment, our ability to view the world and people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment, with compassion and wisdom. This is a restorative embodiment. It's an inner child that doesn't need to be reparented. The 5D community, our mission is to share ourselves with others, to expand consciousness by being integrated brains, because that's kindness and compassion. So Pachas in the world. And then we each have areas of expertise, which is fun, engineers, entrepreneurs, you name it. Join us for 5D relationships. Tune in.